Hey there and welcome to episode 20 of PigCake Plus News. I'm here, I'm queer, and I'm ready and in gear to show you guys what it is that's happening around the world. Well, to tell you guys, you can't see much other than a pig and some sort of audio waveform. You know, in doing this news, it really highlights all the shit that's going on in the world. It really was an area where I was avoiding, and now it's just in my face just to give you guys this content. So I hope you guys appreciate what I go through here for you guys. So our first story is actually about our boy Harvey Weinstein. Harvey Weinstein can't seem to avoid any sort of media coverage. Well, here, according to TMZ, Harvey Weinstein still keeping up with A-list actress Nicole Kidman, whether she likes it or not. He just does it the way normies do, on a magazine rack. So apparently we have some shots taken of Harvey Weinstein at some sort of convenience store where he's looking at a magazine stand and a picture of Nicole Kidman where her stavenses, her cleavage, her boobies, her titties are out. And of course Harvey Weinstein is staring at these. Now for anybody else, this wouldn't necessarily be a huge story. However, it is Harvey Weinstein, which is a very interesting character to begin with. One of the things that was kind of interesting was that it was a well-known secret among Hollywood that Harvey Weinstein was touching and caressing females for years against their will because he was giving them work. You had people like Meryl Streep defending him, calling him God at some point. Not a good look. Not a good look when he comes out and gets accused for all these crimes. So apparently a spokesperson for Harvey Weinstein, because he still has people working under him, says that he was on his way out after paying for his fuel and groceries and was doing what most people do. He was looking at some magazines near the register. Could you imagine being in this sort of predicament where everything you do is scrutinized? I mean, he deserves it. He deserves it and way worse, but holy shit, what a bummer. He could be buying some street food that mildly resembles a pussy. And if somebody catches him at the right moment, it's over. The newspaper headline will probably read, Harvey Weinstein still up to his old antics, eating a pussy-looking meat sandwich. I also love the reporting on TMZ. Here they have another story about Bill Cosby and his first couple days in Chicken. Here the little headline reads, Bill Cosby's comedy is not bombing in prison, at least not to the point where inmates are hurling food at him. Apparently there are reports out that Cosby cracked a joke that another inmate found distasteful and reacted by removing a chicken patty from the bun and throwing it at Cosby, smacking him in the face. And then apparently a Department of Corrections officer says that that didn't happen, and I'm unhappy with anybody who's reporting false news. TMZ is just scratching at the neck like some sort of crack infected herpes zombie for anything in regards to Bill Cosby. They were one of the first people to make the story about Bill Cosby's first day in jail, where he was eating pudding, much like he would on the Cosby Show. You know, it sucks to see Bill Cosby and his plummet from superstardom all the way to allegedly getting chicken patties thrown at him in jail. But you know, you really can't defend somebody like Cosby. And as much as I try to hold on to the memories of the honeydew melon, unfortunately, the only honeydew melon he's going to be having is the booty vagina kind, the ass pussy one from jail. Churches can apparently reduce heart disease, study says. Health workers operating at faith communities in New York City were able to significantly lower and manage hypertension in black communities. So according to this article by the Wall Street Journal, which is a fairly reputable source, I say that doing air quotes, you can't see me, but I'm certainly doing them. They allege that according to a study, it says that the hypertension in black communities could almost be reduced to nothing for those that go to church. It says here that researchers found that after 6 months, people who met regularly with community health workers through their church saw a net reduction of 5.8 milligrams of mercury in systolic blood pressure. That drop, if sustained over 4 to 5 years, can reduce heart attacks, stroke, and heart failure by at least 20%, according to Dr. Ogidebebe. That's a very odd name there. Well, to me, it seems like church is something that's distracting from the otherwise shitty circumstance that you have. So I'm sure this study could just as easily work with eating chicken on a regular basis. And I'm not saying that because this happens to be an article about African Americans. I'm saying that because chicken is amazing. Maybe the same could be said about people that take up a hobby like knitting or God forbid magic tricks. Here their hobby is God. I was watching a little bit of a movie the other day. It's one that I previously watched called Jesus Camp or Camp Jesus, I'm not sure. But it's in 2006, I believe. It's a movie about young children going to this camp, this summer camp, which by the way is an indication of a broken home. I think that if your parents ship you out to a summer camp, it's definitely because either A, they don't want you around and they regret having children, B, they want to fuck without your dumb, dirty, snotty ass interrupting them, or C, they're sick and tired of you and your dumb antics and they want you to be somebody else's responsibility for a couple months at a time. But anyways, they ship out these kids to this Jesus camp, and you have a bunch of devout kids being taught things like intelligent design and how science is evil and the work of the devil. I can't imagine those kids are going to have reduced heart pressure. I feel like if anything, they might have increased anxiety. Here's a fun story from the land of the rising sun. A zookeeper in Japan was mauled to death, unfortunately, by a rare white tiger. Akira Furusho, a zookeeper at Hirakawa Zoological Park in Japan, was killed while moving a white tiger from its exhibition cage on Monday evening. You know, I thought the Japanese were intelligent. Why do we keep subjecting ourselves as human into thinking that animals are anything other than wanting to kill you for food and sustenance at any given time? It doesn't make sense to me. After watching that movie, Grizzly Man, by Werner Herzog, where they follow a dude who lives with bears, convincing himself that he's protecting these animals that are hundreds, if not thousands of pounds. With no effort, it could just pick you up and squeeze you, and your insides become gelatin. But instead, as humans, we trick ourselves into thinking, oh no, they have the same exact emotions that we do. They care just as much about the things around them like we do. No, they don't, which is why you end up dead. And unfortunately here, in doing some sort of movement or moving an animal from one cage to another, a man in Japan was mauled to death by a rare white tiger. You could keep all the social implications to yourself here. Maybe if it was a black tiger, it would have used different means to kill the person. Maybe it would have taken out a gat. That's an African-American term for a gun, if you guys are unfamiliar. So apparently police said they're investigating whether proper safety measures were in place at the zoo. Do you know what are proper safety measures? Not fucking around with a giant 370-pound animal. I think that's a proper safety measure, don't you think? I mention it again. If you haven't watched this movie, please take some time out of your day. It's directed by Werner Herzog. He does little things here and there throughout the entirety of the movie that just make you realize what a great director he is. And he also interjects little things here and there about his own opinion, which is definitely anti this hippie dude. Here's a fun story from a couple days ago, and funny enough, it deals with money, and it's from a Jewish website. So think of that as you would. But apparently a toddler in Utah, I'm going to say Utah, was a little bit too helpful when he shredded more than $1,000 that his parents were saving. So apparently a married couple, Ben and Jackie, were saving the cash to reimburse Ben's parents for University of Utah season football tickets. They had about $1,100 in an envelope, which disappeared over the weekend. If I shredded the money that my parents had lying around the house back in the day, I would not be here right now. I would probably have ended up being taken to the woods and just left there to become a grizzly man on my own. I would have had the belt or the sandals embedded on the inside of my skull from how hard they would have hit me with them. And probably for something as little as like $5. Here, this kid shredded up almost $1,100. That's a new camera. That's some dope lighting equipment. That's almost rent for an efficiency in the ghetto down here. God damn, rent's expensive. You remember that guy that was running for president? That he was running under the rent is too damn high campaign? How crazy would it have been if that dude just won based on that essentially troll campaign? Well, here's a fun one out of Mirror panties.co.uk. Apparently, camel toe panties exist and can be bought online at outlets such as Amazon and eBay. They're basically, according to this, knickers, which is the British word for underwear, I imagine, that make it look like you have a front wedgie. Knickers, what a pussy word. I'm not just saying that because this particular story is about pussy, but what a pussy word, knickers. That's why we beat the British. That's why we're our own country, because of softball language like that, knickers. Say underwear. God. So apparently the underwear is padded to create a puffy looking camel toe for the world to behold. And they have a picture of an Asian woman wearing high-waisted shorts and the camel toe that looks like it's in fact a fucking hot dog bun down her panties. I don't understand why people would find something like that attractive. It's like the stereotype of a man with a giant dick, and you assume that all women are gonna love your massive penis. Most females like small dicks. They like normal, decent dicks. And I'm not just saying that because I have a short but thick penis. I'm saying that because what kind of a woman wants to have a horse cock essentially inserted in and out of her rapidly while having her head pressed against a bed or a couch or a curtain or a window or perhaps the counter? They don't want that. They want a manageable dick. So here it's the same shit. Why would you want a puff pastry pussy? If anything, this makes it look like you've been used by not only the entire football team, but the entire country where the football team is from. Apparently, some reports suggest that the trend has been popular in Japan, where some women want to accentuate, Jesus, my pronunciation is pretty much autistic at this point, but they want to promote their lady parts. And this brings another interesting thing to me here, which is high-waisted shorts. I'm an ass man. I love women with big butts. It comes from my heritage. But unfortunately, we have this trend that's permeating the youth these days, known as high-waisted shorts. Now, they have multiple functions. First of all, their main function is to highlight and to prop up the butt. The second function is to hide the stomach. However, what tends to happen is that girls that wear these don't have asses and they have big guts. So you end up having is what looks like to be a dilapidated hot dog bun coming out the backside. And looks like you're hiding a small child on the front and creating what we know in the business as a fupa. A fupa, for those of you guys that aren't in the know, is a fat upper pussy area, which is created by the fat that's above your pussy and the gut that's emanating from your stomach. And when combined together, it creates a fupa, otherwise known as a gunt. And high-waisted shorts in some women just accentuate these features that you don't want to highlight. I'm sorry I went on a little bit of a rant here. This is just something I see, especially in this city where it's always about 90 degrees. So people are perpetually walking around in bikinis, which is a good thing. But, you know, you should wear what's appropriate to wear with your body type. Random fact of the day here. Apparently, the first to reach the geographic North Pole are two claimants, Frederick Cook, which was accompanied by two Inuit men, and Robert Edwin Perry and his employee Matthew Henson, and four Inuit men. Apparently both of these groups have claimed to be the first to reach the North Pole, one in April 6, 1909, and the other one in April 21st, 1908. So that's your random fact of the day. What a fucking weird one, man. And why would anybody want to go to the North Pole? I imagine this was before the time when the connection between Santa and the North Pole was a thing. I think. I still remember reading somewhere that Coca-Cola technically invented the modern image of Santa Claus. I'm sure my history is all fucked up. But it's the same thing with climbing Mount Everest. It's just another dumb human achievement that you could say, yeah, I summited Mount Everest. Why? Why would you do that? Have you not seen all the frozen bodies? Do you know that if you just sit there and chill for like a couple minutes while going up and summiting Mount Everest, you could die just for being tired? I don't know about you, but when I go on a jog, I could stop. I could take a chill pill. I could rest. And I'm not going to die unless I'm in one of those parts of town where I'll probably get shot. But I don't jog in those parts of town. If you're trying to climb Mount Everest and you just stop and just relax, you could probably die. And the worst part is, you're not going to be thinking straight because it's so fucking cold and the altitude is so high, it puts your mind in a loop. So in your head, it's perfectly justifiable to sit there and stop in subarctic, sub-zero, Mortal Kombat conditions, and that's how you end up dead. You could even look this up on Google, all the bodies that have sat there frozen, and people can't even move them because you have to exert so much energy to move these bodies that it's not even worth moving them. So they just stay there, frozen. What a terrifying concept. And our last story is on one of my favorite fast food pizza places, Domino's. Apparently, cops were called to a Domino's store in a row over pizza. That's how they have it written here. Officers attended a takeaway on Northbrook Road in Gloucester on Friday. Apparently, a customer and her family held a sit-in protest as their food arrived more than an hour after they ordered it, and 40 minutes from when it was marked out for delivery. They were disappointed with how the medium pizza, chicken strips, garlic pizza bread, and 2 lots of dough balls and wedges arrived at the door. I know they got that special. I know this family hit up that $20 special where they give you just a bunch of shit for $20. And when you eat it, you feel like God for about 5 minutes until the elevated blood pressure and clots sit in and you just want to jump off of a helicopter. So apparently this family held a sit-in protest at a Domino's. Now, they don't have a picture of the family here, but I have to imagine that this has to be either the fattest family in the history of families or the mother and father are related. I've ordered pizza that never came. I waited for an hour because the phone was on somehow busy. I kept calling, and then after about an hour and a half, I finally got through, and the person said, yeah, we didn't put your order because your phone number looked weird. What? What do you mean my phone number looked weird? And then when I looked at the thing, it was 1 in front of the number, which apparently threw them for a loop because they didn't know how to react to 1305 as opposed to 305. God damn. But these people apparently staged a sit-in protest. Apparently the family received a 50% discount as their order was over $40. And the manager kept saying on how 200 orders came in the last 20 minutes and they were clearing away at 10:30 ready to close. Of course, never apologizing for taking a while. You know what? Maybe this Domino's did this family a favor. Any family that's willing to come together and to sit in and protest at a Domino's for the food arriving late is a family that really should be eating pizza in the first place. They should be getting their priorities straight. Well, anyways, that's the news. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Today was a little bit of a long form, right? You guys enjoy these when they're longer. So let me know in the comments below if you guys liked this particular episode or if you like the structure of the previous episodes. Anyways, I'm going to go and figure out different ways to use Adobe After Effects to affect my relationship.
When I see you again, 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 when I see you again.